Today, our guest is Captain Rahul Rai. As you can take it from his name, Captain Rahul Rai, he is from the army background. Then he served like more than a decade into the corporate world. He was into management positions, into marketing basically. And now he started with his own performance wear, first of its kind into India. And the name is Hama Heavy. So let's welcome Rahul and let's start the conversation with him today. So welcome, Rahul. First of all, I think the segment you chose, that is the performance where your product Armor Heavy, it is like something new that we have seen into India. So my first question will be like, will it be answered to Under Armour?
I would say it's a kind of a tricky question, but not so tricky question. There are a lot of companies that are there, whether it's a Timberland or a Woodland or Paytm and PayU and PayPal and TechSoft and Microsoft and things like that. So there is a lot in the name when you are going to the market. But at the same time, Armor Heavy, for you to understand, is a very, very not very known military term, which is given to a formation of weapon systems which are heavy in battle tanks. So this kind of tactics was generally used during Blitzkrieg. The mobility and speed and impact of war was introduced when the battle tanks came into being. And still in conventional wars, battle tanks typically play a very vital role. So in the military parlance, when you say armor heavy, then a military person would know that the fighting contingent is heavy in armor, which in military parlance is supposed to be impenetrable. And it's something which cannot be defeated. So that's why I have taken the name Armor Heavy, and I'm correlating that uniqueness of this fighting system into the courage of an Indian, which is doing his job with a lot of courage, and the courage is equated with the impenetrable nature of his zeal to work. So it's basically getting correlated from a military term to a personality oriented. When a person wears it, then he needs to feel that yes, and the product is manufactured in a way which gives a lot of comfort, which gives a lot of style, and like you said, if you don't want to be in formals, this is the clothing which you can go for a party also, and you can go for a jog, you can play golf or tennis, the most formal games, but the most informal games, the most formal meetings and the most informal meetings, whether you are going for a coffee or whether you are going for your first date, I think Armor Heavy will click very well.
I know a bit about the army, as I am from a background. My one of my uncles was into army, and then when I was working with Pearl Academy of Fashion, so I was the head of the DGR programs. You might be knowing about it.
Yeah.
And I know that if somebody from an army background is heading the entire venture of creating something, I know that the class and the quality is always going to be there. I just wanted to understand here are your products specifically for a segment, like a consumer segment, like sports person or somebody who is into like casual sports, or it is just like what we saying to startup tech brand is like use case that anybody who think that good clothing to have can have it.
All right.
So have you specified the target segment or use case, anything like that?
So let's take it like this. This world or this era is an era of specialization. Now, if you're seriously into sports or if you're seriously into running, right, you require something which is very, very comfortable. You require running shorts, a running vest, which is light, which is breathable, and stuff like that. So Armor Heavy will give you that. And it will give you the best quality in the world and the best fit and the best finish and the best comfort in the world, right? However, it is kind of so I'm wearing a polo t-shirt, which I call it as the Patriot Collection, because it flaunts the colors of India right here on the collar. And I'll be taking out a Patriot collection also, which is called the INA 42, dedicating to the birthday that is coming up of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on 23rd Jan. So so such collections would of course be very formal, and there is a segment which is very specialized, that will give you all the comfort, etc. Right. So to answer your question, it's a brand that I envisage wherein it will, the moment you start your day, when you're going for a walk, till the time you are ending your day, you can fit into Armour Heavy. That's the vision. I don't want to leave a specified this thing clothing line which is only specific for to certain segment or certain activity of a person. You can use Armour Heavy throughout the day and be very comfortable. That's the primary vision. But to achieve that vision, of course, there's a lot of R&D that is required. There is a lot of investment that is required. But the vision is that, to answer your question.
As you already mentioned that you have plans to like go into more R&D and that also require investment. So at present, how you are placing your product into the market? Because for revenue or investment, anything placement of the product is like really important. I have seen that you are doing like really good with the social media and all, like which is like a new thing for anything which is coming into fashion or into garments or products. Your Instagram page is like really doing good. As far as my understanding, you are having some around 10K, 9K plus followers over there. So how you are placing your product into the market?
See, the placement of the product is very simply, I have chosen the most fast moving products to start with. And the Patriot collection is one of them. So we are doing a pre-launch just to test waters, how the feedback is in real-time basis of our customers. So I'm doing a pre-launch on 15th of December with friends, family, extended friends, etc., extended circle. Now, if I have a visibility and a customer base of about say 3,000 customers by end of January, or being very optimistic, say 4,000, right? Now this 4,000 sold inventory will give me a metrics, lifetime metric, which will be very, very valuable for me to chalk my future course of action. Now, a dipstick is really important, and the dipstick is happening with the most fast moving consumer product, which is a polo t-shirt. And a polo t-shirt has been designed to be worn across the day, whether you are jogging, exercising, or going to office. So this is a sweet spot that everybody does wear a polo collared kind of a t-shirt, right? So I'm going ahead with that, with a pre-launch. And once the pre-launch is done, I think I'll have effective metrics, number one. Number two is my logistics lines would be established that yes, a guy in Bangalore is getting the product in 7 days, etc. So logistic lines is another. The billing is happening properly. The site is behaving properly and things like that on lifetime basis, right? Now, why I'm choosing a pre-launch with friends, family, and extended circle, and people like you who are influencers, who are important people in the industry, is because you won't be very harsh on me. At the same time, you will understand because you are intelligent and you know how a startup typically works. You are acquainted with a startup ecosystem, so you will know that there are certain issues, but you will also appreciate the detail the entrepreneur has gone into in producing a product. See, we have to be honest to each other, and we have to be honest that the Indian ecosystem is not very, very quality oriented, right? Now, to get that quality, hardcore quality of maybe a German manufacturer or a Japanese manufacturer, or for that matter, a US quality kind of a product, because the customer has really evolved there. Armour Heavy is going out to friends and family with one or two SKUs, yes, but these SKUs have been like if you see the fit and finish of what I am wearing now, it's equivalent to the high fashion brands that are available. Could be in Paris, I'm not kidding, right? The way it has been staged and the way it fits you, it hugs you, and it's so soft. It has all the good stuff in it, whether it's antibacterial qualities or you don't need to press it, etc. N9 kind of a finish. So all that good stuff is there. So this will give me a lot of motivation, and my customer base will respond in a X manner and a Y manner that I'll consolidate. Of course, there'll be revenue generation, which these metrics I'll take to the investor, because certain amount of investors have shown interest. I mean, all said and done, Shivesh, the point is that if I tell you to name top 3 activewear brands or performance wear brands in India, which are homegrown, you'll struggle, right? Because there are so many and so many are failing because of attributes. They are weak in attributes, the branding is not there, etc., etc. But if you in a single breath take names like Puma, Adidas, Armour Heavy, there is a lot of substance to the brand itself. So the name has been chosen with a lot of strategic thought to it, that it is desi, but it is global at the same time, right? If I have to expand somewhere else, then people will accept it as a strong and a very good sporting and a leisure wear kind of a athleisure wear brand. So that's the plan. It's very important for if you're getting into the space where I am, to have a brand name which correlates a lot of strength, a lot of stamina, and then you carve out a story just like the biggies have done. Could be a BMW, they've got the propeller and they've got that aircraft history. Aircrafts are supposed to be very, very sleek, very solid, right? And then now they are manufacturing cars. And why Armour Heavy? Because Armour Heavy is influenced from a fighting force which is impenetrable. It cannot be breached, right? It's solid. So that's why if you see this shield of Armour Heavy is basically, it correlates with the Devanagari script of India. It looks something like that. Thoda ra bhi lagta hai and something, but it is of course in English, and it is a shield, right? It's a shield like warriors used to wear earlier. So there are a lot of elements and a lot of thought process. I've just not named that a brand XYZ Heatex. I've just not named it like that, right? There's a lot of thought that has gone into it. I have rejected almost 10-15 names. I kept it. I designed the logos, etc. I didn't like it. I scrapped it. Domains are hard to find. Unique domains are hard to find. So all that good stuff goes into the naming convention, the visual identity of a brand, the digital strategy of a brand, whether it's taken, not taken. So Armour Heavy across the world has not been taken, and I am the owner of it, whether it's in Japan, America. Because generally when you go to take domains, somebody has taken it, or somebody's domain looks like what is yours, right? So Armour Heavy is very, very unique, and unique because it's a term which many military people also don't know. People who are in the armored corps, like I've been into battle tanks, etc. I value what Armour Heavy means, right? We've grown, or I have served in the military, knowing about the strength of what Armour Heavy is, right? So when you take that name into a performance wear brand, then it has a lot of weight. So it has a lot of story, it has a lot of weight. People will be able to accept it. Of course, it sounds fabulous also, according to me and according to a lot of people I've introduced the brand to. So those are the things, to be very frank.
Two things here, like what you mentioned right now. The brands are always created by a story, the story behind the brand. And with what you have done, I think like it is really awesome and fabulous that you thought about the story and then created a brand. So this is something which I think first time founders or the people who are coming into the startup ecosystem should understand here, and should it is like a golden nuggets for them. So create a brand, you need a story, and the story that you wrapped around the Armour Heavy is like really awesome, that I got it from here. Second, the time that you invested into naming it and the logo. This is also something which like first time founders and the early stage entrepreneur, they miss it out. I did my entrepreneurship course from a degree course from a Wharton School of Business, and there they department for just naming convention, how to name your startup and how it will affect the people who are going to see it online, how to find the domain name and everything. Apart from India, they are quite worried about the name that they are giving to their product, how it is going to go into the market, how people are going to see it, how the name of the product is going to complement the logo of the product, which I clearly see into Alma Heavy. So I think these are some of the like good points that the first time founder and early stage entrepreneurs can take it from you here. And also it's the experience that you are carrying from the marketing background.
Yeah.
That is something, because I always say that somebody who is having experience of almost like 10 years into corporate is like always a better entrepreneur than the people who are coming direct out of college. So I think that is the something extra, that the experience that you're carrying, which is like really helped you.
And one thing that since we are having a very candid kind of a conversation, one thing which is really important is, when I was developing or I wanted to envision a brand something like this, my philosophy of going to the market and developing such a thing is that you need to believe not in a business that let me do a business and it will give me some reward or revenue or whatever. It is something that you love to do. And maybe I'm sounding a little cliched in saying that, but it is so very important. Now, when this vision of creating a brand, right, it has just not occurred in 1 or 2 years. I always followed people who developed insignias, etc., which are really powerful, and it mustered the support of tens and thousands of people, whether it was in the revolutions you saw in Russia or Bavaria or that for that matter India. These revolutions were rallied around certain nishans, right? Certain insignias. And an insignia is what you rally behind. So like the Indian flag is there, right? Now, the Indian flag is such a good insignia. It's such a beautiful insignia, right? But in India, the organized retail does not follow the tricolor. It follows the, and there is no offense to the Union Jack or the Stars and Stripes or to the colonial colors that were there, the red and the blue that Commonwealth countries normally have. I have nothing against them. I have totally, you buy them, you flaunt them, you love them, you wear them, no problem. But the point is that एक विकल्प होना चाहिए हमारे यूथ के पास. विकल्प मतलब एक ऑप्शन होना चाहिए. For just maybe in a wardrobe 1 or 2 good apparels that behoove, that exhort nationalistic fervor. So mera underlining principle of my brand, which I'm not taking to the market, I'm just discussing it with you and certain, is nation as the next fashion statement. That is the brand philosophy with which we will operate. Nation as the next fashion statement. And when I say nation as the next fashion statement, I want to define 2-3 things here. One is, I want the youth to appreciate the tricolor, right? It has, of course, the 4 colors with the chakra in the blue. So Armour Heavy, the colors of Armour Heavy are these 4 colors. You will see them in the tab, and you will see in the Patriot collection, they are there. Of course, in gym wear, etc., I'm not putting it because it's not very ceremonial. But in certain apparels, which are to be worn in formal occasions, informal offices, etc., so you need to flaunt those colors and you need to have that pride. जब तक pride नहीं होएगी अपने surname के ऊपर, जैसे if I'm a Rai, if I don't have pride, then there's no point, right? I mean, मेरा बस चले तो I'll name everybody like Rahul Rai Bharat, right? Shivesh Bharat, so that we are all one, right? But I don't need to name Shivesh Bharat, because Shivesh needs to feel that Bharat is attached to him, right? If that feeling is not there, that color is not there, then there's no point. So the crux here is that nation as the next fashion statement is the belief system as a military person, as a citizen, I always had. So I said, us belief system ko, how should I get it to the common people? Because when I went to buy a jacket in the shopping mall, हर जगह वो stars and stripes, अमेरिका का flag, ये वो अमेरिका का flag उनके लिए fashion है यार. वो न्यूयॉर्क लिख के बॉलीवुड वाले भी न्यूयॉर्क NY करके बड़ा जैजी और वो सिगार वगैरह, वो न्यूयॉर्क के लिए है. न्यूयॉर्क इज देयर सिटी. It is fashion for, they love New York. तुम कभी न्यूयॉर्क गए नहीं हो, तुम बॉम्बे में हो या तुम होशियारपुर में हो या तुम पंजाब में बैठे हुए हो, तुम एनवाई का, it has no significance, शिवेश. तो आई लव दिल्ली पहन लो या कुछ पहन लो, बट दैट सेंस ऑफ belongingness, the sense of pride towards India is coming in, but it is not there. It's somehow not there. So that's I had that I want to take that feeling to the market. Nation as the next fashion statement. So you will see a lot of India and a lot of patriotic zeal in the apparels.
So, I completely agree with you here, but the only problem that the consumer, as a consumer, what we feel when we talk about Indian products and all, we only get Khadi Vandar. Yeah. And the youth are quite, you can say, they don't want to be into the Khadi Vandar products. Even they are good. I myself use Khadi Vandar. Their Lenina is very good. But the youth, they want something funky or fancy, like the product that you are coming up with. And this is the only problem, that the youth is not having options to wear India on their sleeves.
Yeah. See, right now, so you are right. So what is India? What is the Indian youth? We don't have to get stuck with X kind of a mentality. It's a global this thing, yeah. It's a globe. Whatever you feel good in, you wear it. उसमें ये नहीं है कि आप जीन्स पहन ली तो आप कम इंडियन हो गए या टी शर्ट पहन ली तो आप कम इंडियन हो गए. That's not the point. The point is that you accept certain things that are Indian in nature, and you redefine India. You don't say that you walk into a room and if somebody is wearing a dhoti, you typecast him in a X manner, or somebody is wearing a t-shirt, you typecast in. But definitely I'll typecast a person who's wearing a XYZ third country flag, because then yaar, wo uske liye fashion hai. Wo see the brands like certain that have the country name attached to it, etc. Those are brands that with a lot of patriotic zeal emerged in that country. It is fashion for them, and then they are such good marketing people, and you are fools that they tried selling you also, and you accepted it. So see, like certain brands are very gender neutral and country neutral. They are general fashion brands. Everybody wears those brands. Like it could be a Zara or some Westlife or whatever it is. I don't want to name too many brands. I'll come in a legal kind of a this thing, but there are a lot of brands are there. Good brands are there. Peno, all good brands are there. Very good Stitch, etc. But India we fail to manufacture or introduce good quality clothing here. I don't know why.
So H&M, Zara, their products are getting manufactured in India. Before it was into China, but after COVID they moved to India. Yeah. So they are getting product from here. They are taking there. They are tagging it and then selling it again to India. But in India, we haven't seen any original Indian what you say clothing brand which is emerging. So this is
exactly. It's very surprising. When I was doing my research, I said, "Ki yaar, not even one good brand." Because see, Shivesh, you will realize all the top 3 Indian performance brands, activewear brands, are owned by certain Nach Gana brigade, right? Because they have deep pockets and all. But unka problem ye hai ki they are more bothered about money, and mostly are manufactured in China or Bangladesh and all, right? They are not bothered to manufacture here because they are more. It's a business. It's not a patriotic sentiment कि हमें hyper local करना है. They are least bothered about it. And with that personality, the brand also goes, because the brand is so personality driven, right? वो personality का नाम भी लिखा हुआ brand में. You understand? Personality का brand भी लगा. What if the personality is not there, or he does something wrong? It goes down, right? So brands are never built like that. It should not. See, if you see the new brands, etc. So for example, take Tommy, right? Now Tommy has been brought in by a person who has been into fashion for a long time, right? And then Tommy does special features for certain actors, etc. That's the way to do it. Now, if you have money, you might as well launch a business, absolutely launch a business, but it has not been done in a very intelligent fashion, according to me, in India, to compete with these big giants. Not that I'm going to pulverize the competition, etc., but at least it's a start. At least it's a one step in the right direction. I personally feel it's a step in the right direction, and it's something that the genetics of the brand are so strong it can go global. That's the basic idea.
I think the brand that you are trying to create here, they are going to have their own fan following because first of all, you from being from a army background, it is like in India. I know because in India people are too much what you say. Army has their own fan base. So if you are creating anything, and second, the patriotic thing that you are bringing into your products, that is something which as I already mentioned, in India, we don't have option to get a patriotic brand to wear around. We don't have any option. The Bewakoof.com, they said if you have seen the insignia of Dhoni, the gloves that Dhoni used, the Balidan insignia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bewakoof.com, they are a t-shirt brand. They are into a print on demand t-shirt thing. So they created it and they sold almost like 3 lakh t-shirts within a span of 6 months of the same insignia Balidan, which somehow reflects to army. So
Yes.
people want to wear it, but they don't have any options. The problem is that, yeah, as you mentioned, that people are wearing caps with Newark, NY, and all, San Francisco, and all, but because we are not getting caps which says Delhi like DEL or Mumbai like MUM.
कैप नहीं बनते शिवेश, कैप नहीं बन पाते इंडिया में.
Yeah, so we don't have any options. So it is one of the problem, and I think the gap is there, and I really wish you all well out here also, and I am keeping my finger crossed that at least some Indian brand coming to fill that space because I am a fan of Puma. I am not into other brands because I used to play basketball. I played at national level. I used to run marathon also, but for the last 1 year it is like completely messed due to COVID and all. So I'm a Puma fan. My t-shirts, my tracks, and my shoes, everything is Puma. Because I always used to say my wife that Nike is a branding company, though they sell products. So I consider Nike as a branding company. So that's
correct.
But when it comes to buying, I have even tried Under Armour.
Rudolph Dassler will be very happy with you.
Yes, when I tried to find out any Indian companies which were like into the performance wear or into like running gear or anything like that, so the best thing that which I came to was the new product which was launched by Virat Kohli. They are coming with some good products and all, and they were like really quite heavy expensive just because the name of Virat was attached to it. And I was going Puma. Puma, the almost the cost of Puma was same to the wrong or what I don't know how they pronounce it. Pricing was almost on the same level. So why I was going to buy a Virat Kohli product, which I know that they haven't done so much research and a new company, then I will always go to Puma. So if a product comes which has done that much of research,
1 year from now, it will be a win for Armour Heavy if we come again on a conversation and you say I have switched to Armour Heavy.
Yeah. Okay. I will love to because let it come into the market. I will love to try it because as the COVID is like on the end part of it, so I will start running again. So I will love to have it. And this is something which we do because some 3 years back also I used to have a podcast, but due to my other engagement in startup ecosystem, I stopped it. So there I used to podcast, get an interview of something, and after 6 months, we catch that founder again and try to compare this 6 months of journey from that point of time. So I will catch you up again into like next year sometime, and hopefully I will be that day. I will be wearing the Armour Heavy t-shirt. It will because the entire the what you say, the passion is something else, but the entire research and everything that you have put in, and I know that if you are giving hard work when you are starting up, then the product really comes out to be like a premium product out of it.
Yeah,
so that is something
absolutely.
that is something.
And Shivesh, just to have a small submission here, when you are starting up, it's so very important that there are certain people that believe in you. Whether it is 2 people or 3 people, out of a friend circle on your Facebook, about 600 people, only 2-3 people will really believe in you. just 2-3 people. But वो जो 2-3 लोग हैं ना, they are the people who will motivate you to have that ecosystem. There are certain people of those 600 who will be jealous कि यार ये अच्छा कैसे करने लग गया, इसको आइडिया कैसे आ गया. You understand? There will be certain people who will be naysayers, ये तो कर ही नहीं सकता यार, ये तो बेकार है, ऐसी फालतू में पैसे जला रहा है अपने, right? But at the end of the day, there will be certain people who will actually support you. There will be certain people who will be watching you like you are watching, right? And then you said कि यार एक बार राहुल से बात कर लेता हूँ, क्या मतलब what is he planning? Hey, whatever he is planning, शोर तो मचा ही रहा है थोड़ा बहुत. So let me see कि what his vision etc. is. So we are speaking now, right? So one thing is that in India, the ecosystem for a startup is just growing, it is maturing, but even the venture firms are not very process driven. They are more money minded than supporting a venture, right? Of course you have to be money minded, but the purity of the thought should be, first you believe in what the entrepreneur is about to do. You believe in it. If you believe in it, then you ask questions like कितना पैसा है तेरे पास. You understand? So that purity is not there. When I speak to somebody elsewhere, that little bit purity is generally there. And that's number one. The ecosystem needs to mature more. Your friend circle, etc. Their thinking needs to mature कि अगर कोई startup कर रहा है तो उसको क्या क्या problems आ रही हैं, etc. So they need to be a little forthcoming, right? So I was pretty lucky to have 1 or 2 friends who are sticking by me, sticking to the hip. अगर वो नहीं होते, the family is there, of course, family तो है ही है, but those friends are there who are my sponsors etc. So वो बड़ा critical हो जाता है. And then of course the extended circle, जब आपका जो passion दिखता है, then certain people start joining in, and then of course it is the merit of the business, how you are running the business, that follows, and then it typically grows. But the ecosystem is so very important, the near and dear ones etc. And then the professional circle is there, your Facebook circle, your LinkedIn circle. In a room, I mean, I don't have an office, frankly, right? I'm operating from home, but of course I've outsourced everything to a lot of people so that it is easier for me, whether it's manufacturing or sourcing or consulting, marketing. Of course I'm handling, because first 1 year I'll try to handle marketing myself, because when I'm telling Shivesh, a marketing professional, ki Shivesh, this is there in my mind, but he will not get into my mind. I know what I want. So I want to keep that marketing engine very close to me and build that brand the way I want to, right? Even the t-shirts etc. I'm designing, the product I'm designing, because I want that foundation of Armour Heavy to be very unique. And when I'm designing it, I'm not seeing or Googling anything. I am just designing it myself, what I like to wear, because I'm a fashion enthusiast. I've worn the best brands etc. Kitne महंगे हो, I bought them and worn because I'm an enthusiast. But I'm not copying anything. It is just the thing that I like, and I think if I like it as a marketing person, I'll be able to sell it. So that's really critical for an entrepreneur also.
Marketing is all about creating a brand that you believe in. And
Yes.
I always say when it comes to creating a product, there are 3 ways to create a product. So first is like you facing the problem. Second is like somebody else is facing a problem and they are saying it. And the third is like the business alliance. That I always say the best way to create a product, which is like a good product, is when you are facing the problem. You know that what is required, then only you are going to create a good product, which you just mentioned, that you know about the fashion because you like to wear good brands. You have bought it, you have worn it, and you know how to make a good brand out into your product. So that is like really important if you are facing it. And it was also one of the question into the questionnaire that generally people create a product when they face some problem. So what was your problem, how you came on to the Armour Heavy thing? But you already answered it into our conversation.
Yeah, so let me sum it up in 1 or 2 points. See, the first thing is there is a void between the nationalistic sentiment, and I want to bring it. That's number 1. That's the priority 1. The priority 2 is, when I was in my military service, I used to represent the Ironman contest, etc. And I used to be in charge of a team. And I designed the uniforms. And somehow that uniforms were designed so well that people generally asked me Rahul, you designed this. Who designed this? It's looking really fab and very good and all. So that was the initial points in your life that happen not by design but just by chance. So that's one of the things that when I was designing these uniforms, etc., for people who are very, very active and very sporty in the military, uh, I did receive some good feedback. And that was also one of the things that I said somewhere down the line. कभी का सपना आ जाता है कि सब लोग पहन रहे हैं whatever you've designed, etc. Right? So it's from there. Uh, I think that was the initial trigger, the patriotic thing, and then yes, that I have it in me to design certain things well, and it'll get appreciated. So it's I think it's coming from there, and of course my love for insignias and people who developed it. That's another three. So these are the three things why I actually went into such kind of a model. Yeah,
So I think we are almost on the 1 hour mark, Rahul.
yeah.
I the time passed like anything about when we were discussing about your product, and it is really nice to see that somebody who is coming up with something which will be an option to like Puma, Nike, or even the Under Armour, which is a US brand, and dealing with similar products which you are coming up. And I tried their products. So they are like fucking expensive. They are like huge expensive kind of thing. Under Armour. Lastly, I would like you to sum it up with 2-3 things. First, where do you see that we will be seeing you in 2 years time? I don't ask about 5 years or 10 a decade, because the entrepreneurial ecosystem is very uncertain, but still one can plan for 2 years like minimum. So you can see yourself in 2 years time. And second, your takeaways for the first time founders who are working on a product similar to what you are doing into, say, fashion industry, or they are coming with clothing brands or all. So what will be your what you say advice or suggestion to them, because they are like just pass out of NIFT and all college, they don't have the experience that you are carrying. So something like takeaways for them.
See, the first question that you've asked is very interesting. Where do you see yourself 2 years from now? So the vision is that in 2 years, when a college going person is contemplating buying something to do with fashion, especially apparels, he will have in the top of recall Armour Heavy as the number one brand, at least in India. That is where I want to reach in 2 years from now. That's point number one. Point number two is three things that a person uh, who is wanting to venture out in such kind of a domain. One is you do YouTubing, etc., and you see people who are saying that I started with 5 lakh, I started with my father's and mother's pocket money. That's all bullshit. All right, it's all bullshit. Uh, to start a apparel business is very, very expensive. Number one. So the bare minimum that you have to start a apparel business, I mean apparel business I'm talking about. I'm not talking about selling a t-shirt. I am not a t-shirt seller. I'm a brand owner. Building a brand and selling a t-shirt are two. T-shirt वाला तो आपको ठेले में भी मिलता है.
Print on demand, just leave it. You can just
Right?
300
Yeah.
bucks. You can get a.
So you don't want
print.
to you don't want to go there. You want to be a entrepreneur. When you say entrepreneur and you want to be a businessman, you need to start with a bare minimum of about 30 lakh. That should be the burn amount that needs to be with you according to my calculation. Of course it varies with the number of SKUs, the number of specialization, etc., but this is the case. You see all these people who are shouting their lungs out, etc., on YouTube, etc., ki 4 दिन में आपको ये start कर देंगे. The digital ecosystem, let me tell you, when you are building a web portal also, whether you take anything, whether it's Wix, Shopify, anything that you take, they will only give you a skeleton. At the end of the day, by the first year, you will be about 3.5 lakh down just to maintain a bare minimum digital, good CRM driven, integrated with logistics, etc. kind of a web portal. So it is a very, very, very expensive business to be in. So you need to first you need to go into that business, see what people are doing, get the nuances, get uh, learn the ropes, etc. for the first 5 years, and then slowly, once you know how it operates, then get into it. I have got into it. Luckily, I'm into technology and I've led marketing teams into technology, etc. But luckily, what happens is when you're into the marketing domain and with my kind of a drive into branding, uh, my experience of about 16 to 17 years in the corporate has tremendously helped me, because the aspects of visual identity and brand identity and typography and stuff like that, everything that goes into building a brand, I generally knew it. I don't know it all. I'm still learning, but I generally had that first stepping advantage behind me. So I took a presentation, built the logo myself, designed everything myself, built the website myself, went to social media, designed the videos myself. Everything that you see before the pre-launch, not even one penny I have wasted. Right? I did it all by myself. Where the money comes in is when you outsource things like sourcing you can't do yourself. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक टी शर्ट बनाना है, बटन कोई और बनाता है, बटन के ऊपर आर्मर हैवी अगर लिखना है तो वो कोई और करता है, थ्रेड इसके लिए स्ट्रेचेबल थ्रेड चाहिए होता है, वो कोई और देता है, राइट? इसकी जो बैजिंग है शिवेश आर्मर हैवी की, वो इंडिया में कहीं भी कोई नहीं कर रहा है, अमेरिका वगैरह में कर रहा है, इंडिया में कोई भी नहीं कर रहा है, ये इंडिया में प्रोडक्ट ही नहीं है ऐसा, राइट? ये बैजिंग जो है वो कोई और करता है, राइट? रिविट्स लगाने हैं तो वो कोई और लगाता है. सो इट्स अ इकोसिस्टम दैट यू हैव टू आउटसोर्स, यू कांट डू इट योरसेल्फ, राइट? सो when you are looking for your extended team need to be people who believe in the core idea. So when I was sharing this with the core team, they believed in it. मैन्युफैक्चरर के पास टाइम नहीं है, उनके पास ऑर्डर आ रहा है, वो उनकी लाइनें लगी हुई हैं, 1000 t-shirts, 2000 t-shirts, they don't have the time, right? But then you have to find people. Frankly, Corona was very good because I was going to Ludhiana and Tirupur, etc. I burnt my hands there. But ये आपके आंखों के सामने होएगा. So I went hyper local. जहां मैं हूं वहां से 15 kilometers के radius में I found people who are doing everything for me. And you have to go and visit. You have to go a pep talk and tell them कि यार ऐसे करना है, so that your mind is actually getting translated in the product. So very important. So those are certain nuances that once you get into the business, then only you will come to know.
This is also something I always tell to the first-time founders, that any founders, that try to get into a job for at least 2 to 3 years, get some experience, then you will always be a better entrepreneur rather than just starting out of college. Because the chances of failing is like 95% of time you are going to fail. Only there are 5% who are like the college entrepreneurs who make it big. And even when they give example of like Oyo Room founders or the Zomato founders. So Zomato founder was also working with BCG, Boston Consultancy Group, before starting his company. And the Oyo founder Ritesh was into Peter Thiel fellowship. So they have their ecosystem out there to support them. So
correct,
that
absolutely.
I believe that these points that you just mentioned will be like really helpful for the founders and the entrepreneurs, because I know the YouTube and the motivational speaker is like really sitting the entire ecosystem out there. They have started with like 2,000 rupees and they build $1 million company out of it. So it doesn't work like that. At least 99.99% times it doesn't work like that.
आप imagine करो for one apparel, the cloth is there, the stitching is there, the packaging is there, barcoding के अलग पैसे लगते हैं, tagging के अलग पैसे लगते हैं, employee के अलग लगते हैं, legal compliances के अलग लगते हैं, logistics के अलग लगते हैं, and I can tell you another 20 expenditures that are baked into this.
That so also, in many cases, you have to do into bulk. You can't get it sourced for single piece.
Absolutely.
So you need that investment amount to be there.
Absolutely. So anybody who's saying that ये तो ऐसे ही हो जाता, अगर ऐसे ही हो जाता तो सब लोग कर रहे होते. So
there
there's
will
a
be
lot
people
of
who will be like, इतने खर्च कर दिए 300 रुपए में तो टी-शर्ट बन जाती है online. There will be people, I know them.
Yes.
There are. So yeah.
Take it with a lot of seriousness. That's what. Take it with a lot of passion, lot of love, lot of seriousness. Do your research and stuff like that, and then get into it. Don't go headlong. वो भी बड़ी important. And I don't say that I will succeed, but I'll be very very brave in the effort. I'll go to the last mile. Matlab, I'm really struggling and I'm getting all the bullets and getting injured, etc. Well, I'll try to touch the finish line. And if I touch the finish line and cross it, I think it will be a big win, Shivesh, because it's a competitive world. हर चीज में कंपटीशन. वन ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स सेड कि यार तूने जो ये स्ट्रिंग लिया है, बिजनेस सेगमेंट लिया है, वेरी कॉम्पिटिटिव. मैंने कहा सर वो तो कंपटीशन तो झाड़ू वाले में भी है, जो झाड़ू बना रहा है उसमें भी बहुत कंपटीशन है, नैपकिन वाले में भी बहुत कंपटीशन है. आप कहाँ मतलब किस उसमें ब्लू वाटर्स इज समथिंग which was used to be there. Blue water आजकल थोड़ा ना, everything is like people have researched it यार, everything is there. So उसके ऊपर थोड़ा augmentation लगा सकते हो, उसको change कर सकते हो, but we are not into technology etc. that drastically things will change and AI and M2M etc. is happening. But we are into classic businesses, right? This is a classic business. Now, how to trend a classic business is a marketing genius, and we'll try to trigger that marketing genius. Let's see how people accept the brand, etc. So there are a lot of nuances that are definitely involved.
There are, yeah. Okay, Captain Rahul Rai, thank you for being with us. I believe that listeners will be really happy to hear you out with your experience and about your product. And I already mentioned that I will catch up with you in 6 months' time or an year's time, and most probably that time I will be hearing your product onto my sleeve.
You should be wearing the product by the 17th of December, by the way. Huh?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's by order.
Okay. Okay, perfect then. Okay, and so thank you for taking our time, and I think I will end the call here, and it was like really nice.
Thanks a lot, Shivesh, for your time, and appreciate you spending and explaining me how this will happen. And let's see, stay in touch, and we'll meet up very soon. All right, Jai Hind.